Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. By now you have probably heard what Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to propose for MLB, and you probably have heard Trevor Bauer's response to that. Like Bauer, I have no idea where to begin on this. Nobody that I know wants to expand the playoffs to 14 out of 30 teams. It's absurd to let general managers pick their opponent, and it's even more absurd to have a 3-game playoff series take place when one participating team can't even have a home game. They may as well just play the games in a studio. Manfred would be better served if he could find a way to get a salary cap in Major League Baseball. And don't forget the Houston Astros, well, they're on his watch too. I don't believe there's a bigger baseball fan in the Cleveland media than me, but if MLB signs on to put Manfred's plan into action, you probably won't see me at Progressive Field starting in 2022. Bud Shaw is here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 24th consecutive year and seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Bud Shaw with us. That's because it's a Tuesday night. And are you riled up on this Rob Manfred thing?
A little bit. I'm going to get to it in my ad-lib opening comment. But it makes me think that, when I was, my first sports scar came when the Phillies lost like a 6.5 game lead with 12 to play.
Right, 1964.
Right, and at that time, as you well know, there was only one team. That was the National League champion that went to the World Series. So, that was a really devastating thing for Phillies fans at the time. It wasn't like they blew the division but still made it as a wild card or something like that. So I want people to know I'm not coming from this place of like the old guy telling people to get off his lawn. Or the purist. I'm just saying I'm fine with the playoffs the way they are right now with the wild cards.
Right, it's 2 wild cards.
Yeah. The other things that he proposed, which I'll get to in a little more detail, I didn't understand, and apparently Trevor Bauer didn't either.
No, we're going to hear from Trevor.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about Trevor Bauer is that he has long been a proponent of let's spice this game up. Let's do some different things, Sort of like the guy from Washington who went to Philadelphia, whose name?
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was a big believer in that kind of thing too. Like there needs to be more personality. There needs to be changes in baseball. It's a slow sport. It's losing a generation. All of that stuff. So I don't think Trevor Bauer comes at it from this like, oh, keep it all the same way. But he just has to believe that these ideas are particularly bad.
Do you think Manfred just kind of threw it out there just to let the discussion begin?
Well, what worries me is that I would think that this isn't like him sitting there with a napkin doodling and then just holding a press conference. There must have been some kind of committee that actually threw around these ideas and thought it sounded okay. I read a tweet from Buster Olney, who's a very well-respected baseball writer, worked in San Diego, where I worked at a time, and he said, "Hey, I think there's some possibilities here. This is hope for the middle markets that have a hard time competing with the big salaried teams."
Okay, if that's what it's all about, there's a better way of doing it, and that's called a salary cap.
Well, that could be better, but that's not Manfred's problem. I mean, that's not his fault. I mean, he can't just. There's not a salary cap because he hasn't thought that it would be a good idea. There isn't a salary cap because the players' union will never go for it.
Okay, but look what's happened here. You got a DH in both leagues, DH in one league and not in another. Okay, that's fine. It's an experiment that started in 1973, and they haven't made a decision yet on whether the experiment works or not. You have. The responses are such things as start extra innings with a man on second base. How does that solve anything?
No, I don't like those ideas.
All right, and pointing to first base so the batter, it's an intentional pass. What do you think they saved on that minute-wise over the whole year?
Yeah.
4 minutes?
Yeah.
And everything? So that doesn't seem to be addressing whatever problems baseball has.
Well, we know now. We had Terry Francona at Tribe Fest, Nick Camino and I, along with a lot of other people, but we had him in a spot for WKYC. And he's not a fan at all, obviously, of the minimum 3 batters for relief pitchers.
Because he worked the other thing to protection.
He can't stand it. Yeah. And when we addressed it with Mike Chernoff, he said it was an idea aimed at speeding up the game again. So you're not making another, you're not, the lefty comes in to face a lefty and he walks him and he gets pulled out because the next guy's a righty, I still don't like it, and I think most people who go to games aren't so concerned about the pace of play. Well,
I've always said that when I'm at a game, I've never said, boy, this is a slow game or this is a fast game. When I'm at home, sometimes I'll do that.
Sure.
But if I'm at the game, and if you're baseball, why wouldn't you want to get your customers there longer? Because they're going to buy more soda pop, they're going to buy more popcorn.
I don't know if it's aimed at the TV audience, because I'll be the first to admit that when there's a particularly long at bat and guys keep stepping in and stepping out and adjusting this, adjusting that, and I mean, I flip around sometimes. I'm like, I'll come back, and it'll still, the same guy's fouled off 3 pitches, and it feels like it's 5 minutes later.
All right, so do you have a commentary about this by any chance?
I'll think one up.
All right, go ahead.
All right.
Here's Bud Shaw.
All right, wait a second. Okay, I just got it. All right. Les, baseball's proposal for postseason format changes would get into effect in 2022, or if you're lucky, never. The idea floated Monday would be to expand the playoff field, thereby embracing the same mediocrity the NHL and NBA welcome to their respective postseasons. Because of baseball's, quote, anything can happen, end quote, nature, we'd likely get an 80-win team challenging an 82-win team in some future World Series. And to that I say, no thank you. The other change would allow the top teams to pick their opponent. As if there's not enough bad blood between teams already playing out in dangerous ways in baseball, imagine the chip on the shoulder of a hand-picked opponent would bring into the series. All for what? A selection show on TV? Rob Manfred must be saving all of his good ideas for a rainy day, and here's hoping the skies open soon.
Could you imagine that?
I mean, can you imagine picking,
you suck,
I
so
pick
we're gonna,
you as my opponent?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, you're going to get plunked.
You just made a team that's happy to be in the playoffs even more dangerous by doing that.
All right, so Trevor Bauer, agree with him, disagree with him. He's outspoken. He does love the game, maybe not in ways we expect him to do it, but let's listen in and see what Trevor Bauer, the pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds, had to say.
It is late. I'm sick. I don't have much of a voice. And I'm really upset about this new ridiculous playoff policy that Rob Manfred has suggested or proposed or leaked. I don't even know how it got on the internet. I don't know why it would even get on the internet. It's that ridiculous. Like, just reading through it without even thinking about it for a second, they're just wrong. Like, who put this out without thinking of the fact that the best team in the league is going to get a 6-day layoff, a 7-day layoff, while we sort out this whole 3 games here and this wild card, and we're going to pick our opponent, and we're going to do this whole reality TV stuff. Meanwhile, the best team in baseball is sitting at home waiting for all this crap to transpire. God forbid someone's ace pitches 4 days before the end of the regular season and then has 10 days in between starts. And this isn't football where you can heal up, and that helps. Like, being on a routine is so important in baseball. We play for 6 months, and now you're going to say at the most critical time of the year that we're going to get 10 days off maybe, or the 6 days in between games, and who knows how the pitching rotation lines up and all this different stuff, and that's supposed to be a benefit? That's supposed to be the best team in baseball gets this benefit? These are just some things that come off the top of my head. The first time I read through the proposal, I haven't even had time to think about this. I just read it like an hour ago, and I just am so beside myself with Rob Manfred and his ridiculous rule changes that he keeps proposing. We're going to move the mound back 2 feet. We're going to have a 3-batter minimum. We're going to get the games under 3 hours because that's what fans want. Fans don't care if the game's 2 hours and 57 minutes or 3 hours. The reason that you wanted to do that in the first place is because all the people that own media companies that own baseball teams are the ones that voted you in as commissioner in the first place. So you're protecting them. So in that case, you should probably know something about media. You should probably understand what people are connecting with. Since those are the people that voted you in as commissioner, you should probably understand something about media. So I don't want to rant too much, but like, God, I just had to get this off my chest. And I want to focus on some solutions, some things we can do in media. Like, Rob, if you understood media, maybe as the commissioner of baseball, you could solve some of these things. Like how in one of your biggest markets, half the fans can't even watch the damn game because of TV deals. Like, I grew up, what got me into baseball is I grew up going to see it one Dodger game a year. I'd go to one a year. We didn't have money to go to more than that. I'd sit out in the bleachers. We'd listen to Vince Scully on the radio with my dad. But we watched Dodger games all the time. I was sitting in bed at night watching Dodger games. This is what got me into baseball. Half the people in local markets have blackouts. They buy the MLB package to watch their favorite team, and they can't even watch their favorite team half the time. I know that's not all on Rob, but as the commissioner, figure it out, man. Like, how are we supposed to spread the game? How are we supposed to get people interested, young people, the missing generation of baseball fans? How are we supposed to get them interested in the game when they can't even see the damn game? Rob, if you're watching this video, you probably won't because you don't even have a pulse on the game that you're commissioner of. But if you're watching this video, like, you want to talk about some stuff, you want some recommendations, hit me up. I'm sure you can get in contact with me. I'm sure you'll probably be finding me or something like that. So that's it. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Trevor Bauer,
Well done.
you've been
Well
around
done.
him more than I.
Yeah.
Was that real? Was that how
No,
much was?
I think
I
that's-
don't think it was put on at all.
No, I think it's real. Yeah. I wish I hadn't done an opening comment. He said it better than I could have. I hadn't even
I thought it was Paul Hoynes.
I haven't even thought about the long layoff
Yeah.
going into he didn't even get around to the picking your opponent thing. I don't understand where the moving the mound back 2 feet. Has that been
I hadn't heard that.
I
either.
had not heard that one. That would be, the last time they changed the mound was 68, right?
Yeah.
When they
And
lowered it.
nobody hit the ball.
Right, they lowered it because everybody's ERA was like under 2.
All right, let's talk about it and more. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show. You see the address right there, which is real-les-levine@gmail.com. Joc-Pederson, speaking of the Dodgers, we thought was traded to the Angels a week or two ago. He's a guy that I've had my eye on for a long time, and he's still available. That trade did not go through. I know the Indians have 9 or 10 or 53 outfielders right now, but Pederson would be a guy I'd like to go after. Let's see what you think. We'll check that when we get back. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. More Sports and Less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the past 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all over the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. We'll come back. We'll check out Facebook, where you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine. New content is posted each and every day. We've got a Facebook question of the day. We'll get to that a little bit later. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
This portion of More Sports and Less Levine brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct. Birthdays for today, the 11th of February. Max Baer, the boxer seen on the left. Mandy Lightfloats was born in 1947. James Silas, Ben Ogilvy, Nikola Mirochis, and Josh Jacobs, a rookie running back, all born on the 11th of February. 216-575-0403. You've got some breaking news you'd like to pass on here?
Well, I believe John Heyman, national baseball writer, is reporting that Jason Kipnis will be joining the Cubs, which is not a surprise. It's going to be a minor league deal, $1 million plus incentives.
Well, last year he made 13 or 14 million.
Yeah, and he probably banked a little bit of that, so this will carry him.
Well, isn't that a perfect move for him?
Sure.
He's a north side of Chicago guy.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure he's thrilled.
All right, the Indians probably happy. You know, they like the guy. If all things considered, they wouldn't mind having him on the team this year, but they couldn't afford to pay $13 million for him.
And apparently, no one else
did either.
deemed that reasonable price either.
That's sort of a hometown boy does good. Comes back to the Cubs. Loved it while he was here, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, he was a good guy. I liked him as a player and a person. I know he had a few things to say over the years that when people got him angry, but his best years he wasn't consistent in it. His best years were not a consistent
and
production.
had some injuries.
And had injuries. So he had some years where you just said, boy, they probably regret having spent that much money.
All right, right now the Indians look like they have 9 or 10 guys vying for 5 outfield positions.
Yeah.
Although they got guys who can be DHs also. Joc-Pederson is a guy that I thought was traded already last week, but apparently that didn't go through. And I know they don't want to add it. There's a lot of money involved here, but he's a left-handed power hitter and a base stealer, kind of a strange combination. Dodgers were initially trading him to the Angels for prospects. Peterson is owed $7.7 million for this season, final year of a contract, hit .249, 36 home runs, and 74 RBIs. Pretty good power numbers.
Yeah, the Dodgers are still trying to, get out from under luxury tax money. I know they still want to make that deal. But now you're the Indians. Are you going to pay that salary plus give up a player or two?
Probably not. Especially when they have so many potential outfielders, and they can pick and choose. It's hard to believe all of them will fail.
Yeah, I know. We've said that before.
Just by numbers.
When we talked with Chernoff last week, and the question was, are you guys going to go after Puig? And he led us to believe that was not in their plans right now, that they trusted that the group they have as outfielders, the players would emerge from there, and that they would like to see if that's a possibility first before they do anything. As far as Reyes goes, I think Reyes, there's some talk about him seeing right field in spring training, but I think that's a guy that, according to Chernoff, they would ask to maybe play in a National League park if they had to, but they're not looking at him as a platoon guy in right field. No,
but Santana, who they haven't firmed up that deal yet, but they probably will in the next day or two, he's not a defensive player either.
Yeah, but there's a difference, I think, between not being a defensive player and not being a lumbering,
He lost 18, 20 pounds.
Yeah, well.
Who doesn't need to do that?
Yeah, he needs to lose another 18 or 20, I think, before you would trust him out there.
Well, so you talk about Puig, that's the same thing well, not the same thing, but close to the Kipnis thing, where he's making a lot of money and nobody seems interested in him. There's a case where a reputation followed a guy around.
Yeah, for sure, and we saw a little bit of it here. I thought he handled himself pretty well for when he first got here, and then we saw, some of the old stuff.
Most people who saw him would not forget the ground ball back to the pitcher that he forgot to run out.
Yeah.
Sort of sticks with you.
Just slipped his mind.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. In general, as pitchers and catchers reported, in general, do you like what the roster will look like, or is it too hard to tell?
I think it's going to take, one of those years where they don't have many injuries at all to win the division. I think in a way they're closer to Chicago now as a third-place team than they are to Minnesota as a first-place team.
I would agree with that. But then you wonder, how is Minnesota doing it? If Cleveland can't spend that kind of money, how is Minnesota, a similar situation, small market team?
We saw it with Kansas City for a little while,
Yeah.
and now they're having lean times and probably won't be heard from for a while. Chicago did the same thing where they had to rebuild. It's not specific to the Indians, but I can appreciate people's frustration.
By the way, when Rob Manfred calls you for suggestions, will you tell him March 26th is really not a good opening day date?
Yeah, it's an okay opening day date if you're opening in
a dome stadium
California
or California.
Yeah.
I propose this. I do this every year. I talk to the Indians marketing people, and I propose, as soon as they say opening day tickets are for sale, they go in, 5 minutes maybe? So they're going to sell out no matter what opening day. I think they shouldn't even let you know when opening day is and start pushing Game 2.
And call it a second opening day.
Or this is opening day. We don't want to tell you about what we're doing the day before, but let's buy tickets and we'll have the flyover on game day 2.
Well, maybe if we get 65-degree weather in late March, we'll see a crowd on the second day of the season. But your point's well taken. They load up for the opener, and then it's really crickets for the next 2 months almost.
When can you get there? 216-575-0403. 3 great locations for Northeast Factory Direct, plus the website. You got to check that out before you go anywhere. NortheastFactoryDirect.com is the place to go. Whether you're looking for mattresses, hot tubs, beds, kitchen cabinets, or furniture, they've got them, and they got them at 50% off what you're going to pay at the big box stores. Why? Because Alex pays so little rent. He doesn't care how the building looks. He just uses it as a storage place, and that's where he keeps all the great furniture, and you're the one who's going to save the money. West 140th Street on the west side, Lakeland Boulevard and Euclid Freeway Drive, that's in Macedonia. But first, go to NortheastFactoryDirect.com. Well, there's some talk on one of the major sports networks, Bud, about whether the Browns should give up already on Baker Mayfield.
What? Who's saying that? Is that Johnny Manziel's people?
I don't think he has people, but we'll check on that and more. Get your thoughts. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit Naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
Just because I'm not $1 million price doesn't mean I'm worthless. We middle prices get zero respect. We're worth hundreds, even thousands. I'm a handsome bag of money. And there's $110 million worth of us in the Ohio Lottery Cash Celebration scratch-off alone. Plus, the odds of winning are off the chart. 1 in 3.
Play the $30 cash celebration for a chance to win up to $1 million.
You see?
Oh, and lots of prizes between $100 and $1,000.
Everybody wants $1 million. Would $500 be so bad? Come on.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. Hey, Bud, how come we can put a man on the moon and bring him back, but Les can't get a correct order from a fast food drive-through window?
That's a good point. How about you can't even hear like a clear voice most of the time.
Well, that's why they make the mistake.
I mean, you heard Houston, we have a problem. You heard that from space. Here, you can't even tell when what they're asking you.
Right. It's one small step for drive-through food. It's unbelievable. The most times I've gotten it done correctly was, I think, twice. I think I got it 2 times in a row once.
Wow.
One
That's
time.
quite a streak.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Did you watch Stephen A. Smith and Mike Greenberg and that group today?
No, but even when you're not watching Stephen A., you can hear him. So I did hear him.
I think you were the one. Did you work with him in Philadelphia, or you knew people who did?
I was gone from Philadelphia by the time he was there, but he was a basketball beat writer there for a while.
Right, because I think it was you that told me that Steve Smith is really a nice guy. Stephen A. is not.
Well, he certainly has turned on the personality. I won't say charm. I'll say personality for TV work.
So he and on the show Get Up, ESPN's Get Up, they were talking about Baker Mayfield. This is what Stephen A. had to say. You don't deserve support. He's talking about commercials. You deserve scrutiny. 21 interceptions this year. I said 1,000 times, and now I'm going to make it 1,001. The man has more commercials on Progressive than wins. Just stop it. Baker Mayfield does not deserve support.
All right, here's the thing about that comment, right? I mean, he's sort of taking Andrew Berry and Stefanski to task for saying that they support their quarterback. What else were they going to say in an introductory press conference?
Right.
Should they have said, and I heard what he said, they should have said, well, yeah, we still think he's got it, but he's really going to have to step it up. Well, okay. I'm sure they want to talk to him and say those things in person first before they come out in an introductory press conference and say, this guy, the clock's ticking on this guy as a franchise quarterback. Nobody would expect them to do that.
No, and the other thing is, if Stefanski takes the job here, which he did, he had to know that Haslam, there's a lot invested in that quarterback. He's got to say, yeah, I believe in him and all that. Well, what he's saying is, well, we'll see that when we get out on the field.
Yeah.
But until then, he's my quarterback. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And I think it's far more important that the head coach, when Baker Mayfield gets off course and starts worrying about refs and whether Odell-Beckham-Jr.'s cleats pass the uniform police in the NFL and whether Tony Grossi asks him a question he doesn't like. When he gets off course that way, that's when I think the head coach needs to say, hey, that's not important. Stop that. Stop tilting at windmills here. These are not fights that you need to be having.
Mike Greenberg had this to say. Now, we know Mike Greenberg. This is a different Mike Greenberg, though.
Yeah.
I think. Mike says the notion that you would be even considering giving up on him at this point strikes me as ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
Hey, look, you don't have to argue whether he's going to be a top 10 quarterback. I mean, just ask yourself, does he look at last year? He didn't look this way, but what you saw in his rookie year, if he can get back to that, do you think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl with? And I would say yes.
Well, he was pretty good his rookie year.
Yeah, I think he's.
And now he'll be working on
his potential alone tells me that that's good enough to win a Super Bowl with that guy.
And he's going to be working on his 3rd head coach.
Yeah.
Since
that's all. That certainly hasn't helped him.
Dan Graziano of ESPN had this to say. It's too soon to know about this 24-year-old. He's about to have his 4th different NFL coach, and he's going on his just his 3rd season.
Yeah, different coordinators. What he's got to do, Les, is stop being so cocksure of himself about everything and realize that there's a lot to learn in this league. And the way he came in here, I think that message got muddled because he had instant success from that Jets game on.
Right, and the other thing I think we learned from this is there's way too many sports talk shows out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't just make up a phony thing, would we?
Not today. Today?
Today. Yeah. By the way, I'll be making up phony things on radio this Friday, Monday, and next Friday. That'll be on 92.3 The Fan. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bleacher Report, this is their time of the year. They just get to make up trades, and they become the general manager of 10 different teams. I do have a question, though. Like, at this point in the Browns situation, Andrew Berry just coming in, the scouts from last year, or at least the executive guys, they're gone. Elliott Wolf and Highsmith, they're gone. So when you hear them say, well, the Browns are not happy with so-and-so or the development, how do they, the new guys that came in, how do they know that? Have they seen every bit of film? Somebody says, well, the front office doesn't like this guy.
Yeah, I think they're just making assumptions at this point. I mean, these guys have barely even been together to watch film to you know, as a coaching staff, let alone to do it with a general manager at their side. Yeah. I heard Mary Kay Cabot say something today that, you know, that I found pretty profound in a way. And she was on 92.3, and she said that, you know, there was 80 years of scouting walked out the door, right. And Dorsey, Highsmith, and Elliott Wolf. And it doesn't mean that it was all good scouting. You know, they certainly made their mistakes. But so that's the big question I think facing this organization is are there good personnel evaluators who can take whatever the analytics parameters analytics provides and make decisions on good players, right. And guys that can be franchise-changing players.
We're going to find that out.
We don't know that.
We're going to explore some trade options that Bleacher Report has been exploring, see what you think of them, see if you think, if it jogs your memory of what the Browns need, and we'll get back and we will do that. Tri-C is a place where you can explore your options and find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses in over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more information. Bud Shaw and I return in a moment. Dennis Maniloff tomorrow. Paul Hoynes on Thursday. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
This day in sports history, Bill Belichick, 1996, was fired as coach of the Baltimore Browns, as they were known, for a month or two. He was replaced by Baltimore Colts favorite Ted Marchibroda. That means Art Modell fired Belichick and Paul Brown, arguably the two best coaches in history. Now that should put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, no one else has done that.
Nobody else has done that. Nobody else would even contemplate doing that. So that's this date in sports history. All right, you know how much I hate mock drafts, right?
Yes, but I do made not. That very clear.
But I do not hate speculation on trades that we make up.
Oh.
And Bleacher Report apparently is doing the same thing. Let's check out an option. Trent-Williams is a name we've heard a lot about as the season wore on this past season. So the Redskins would receive a second-round pick and a sixth-round draft pick. You just make that up, but that's okay. Offensive tackle Trent-Williams is a guy that would look good in a Browns uniform, no matter what the Browns uniforms are going to be. Before you even see the new uniforms, do you think you're going to like them or not like them?
Yeah, you know, I have no opinion on uniforms. I think it comes from maybe not having grown up here. Okay. So when they change the uniforms around, I'm like, whatever. But I know people get very upset by.
I just know that when you put it in charge of the marketing people or whoever, that everybody has to get their little piece of the pie in there. You got to have a name, you got to have the stripes, you got to have the city. So how about just the plain old uniforms?
Yeah,
The Jim Brown
Go back
uniforms.
to the old ones.
Absolutely.
This is a, excuse me, this is a trade that's intriguing, and because it makes some sense that you would put a veteran left tackle on that line and then use those draft picks to shore up the offensive line with. Because you don't want, what are the chances are drafting 10? You're going to draft the next Joe Thomas at 10, and he's going to step
Probably
right
not
in
good.
and
in this case,
able to
Bill
handle it.
Callahan,
Yeah.
the Browns line coach, had him
Yeah.
for 4 seasons.
I mean, the only bad thing is that he, 31 years old, not the youngest guy in the world, but a second and a fourth, I'd probably do that.
You want to trade OBJ for another wide receiver? Bleacher Report does.
Well, listen, I understand what the guy's talent is. I've never seen a season where he hasn't, fabricated these scenarios where he makes it about himself and not about his team. And I'm not saying that's the worst thing in the world. Somebody referred to it as like, death by paper cuts. It's like really small things, but they add up, and there's some fatigue. But every coaching staff I know, Les, is convinced that they're the ones that are going to be able to reach a guy and turn him around. And I would suspect that they're not going to trade him.
No, but
because his value isn't great right now.
And he doesn't do anything bad legally or anything like that. Just paper cuts is what he does. All right, let's see what Bleacher Report has to say about this. They want to trade Odell Beckham to the Raiders or the Las Vegas team. Tyrell Williams would be who the Browns would get. They'd also get a first-round pick for Odell Beckham.
Listen, maybe because the Raiders are moving.
They need to make a splash.
They want to that would really fit with their marketing. But I'm surprised to hear that they would give up the #1 pick for Beckham right now, based on the health that he's had over the last few years and the other issues.
Let's take a look at Olivier-Vernon, see what you have right here. What you have is a trade with Tennessee, and Anthony Firkser would be the man the Browns would get, and a 5th-round pick for defensive end Olivier-Vernon, who makes an awful lot of money.
Yeah. They're not in cap jail right now, so I might be willing to wait and see if he, if he can become the player they thought they were trading for. We heard Andrew Berry say, look, there's not, we're not going to go through this thing where a player was the last regime's guy and not my guy and all that. We're just looking for guys that can play. But depending on what his health is like, that's a big number to carry.
Yeah, and when they see the money involved, they may change their mind about that. So he did play in 10 games last year for the Cleveland Browns. And now let's take a look at Christian-Kirksey. I would assume he's a man out the door also. Christian-Kirksey, in this trade scenario with the New Orleans Saints, the Browns would receive a 6th-round pick for Kirksey. Now, you would think Kirksey's worth more than a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, it's so hard to figure when some of these deals, I don't understand why some guys are worth 4th rounders or 5th rounders and another guy's worth a 2nd round. Look at when Mohamed Sanu went to New England, it was for a 2nd rounder, right?
Yep.
He didn't produce like a 2nd rounder for them. So it really comes down to how badly a team thinks it needs that, and I'm not sure Kirksey fits anybody's,
Now you bring up
dire need.
Is it fair to say that Belichick in recent years has not, you keep saying, well, Belichick will fix him, or if Belichick can't use him, nobody can. Do you think that still holds water?
I don't know. I mean, the misnomer about Belichick is that we think he's just this brilliant draft expert.
Right, and he's not.
They haven't always drafted well. Now, Frank, obviously they're drafting far down in every round, unlike the regimes that have been through here. But this is a critical year up there. I'm really interested to see what happens with that, because Robert Kraft wants Tom Brady back, and there are teams out there who would love to have Tom Brady for a year or two, even though he can't move much anymore.
Somebody threw out that maybe the Browns would be one of those teams. You have, number one, any chance of that happening? And B, would you be in favor of it?
Yeah, I think he would look. I think he would look for a team more like San Diego, that maybe is a little further along and also plays in a climate that he could handle at age 43. I'm not sure. And plus, I wouldn't want to, Phillip Rivers is gone now from San Diego. I mean, they have that need. They're not trampling the toes of a guy that they just drafted #1 overall. Right. I would rather see them invest in Mayfield and get the best out of him.
Northeast Factory Direct, you were telling me about, give us a quick rundown of your house.
Well, I was saying I could shoot a video of all the stuff that I've purchased from Northeast Factory Direct. We just got done doing a kitchen where they did the cabinets. I've had mattresses, patio furniture. They're really good there, and they've been great in customer support too.
And you are convinced that they save you an awful lot of money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we were able to do a kitchen for 40% of what we might have been paid.
Excellent. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations, but don't go anywhere without checking out the website, northeastfactorydirect.com. Sokolowski's University Inn, best place in town to go for lunch in the downtown area, as far as I'm concerned. 11 to 3 is the hours during Monday through Friday. Friday and Saturday nights for dinner. It's the old Yogi Berra line. Nobody goes there. It's too crowded. Well, you get right through the line, and there's not a better place. And you know what? We don't talk about it too much, or I don't, and I should. You talk about saving money. It's unbelievable how much value and food you get for the little amount of price. It's unbelievable. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back in a moment. Quickies coming your way a little bit later. Bud Shaw with us. D-Man Dennis Maniloff tomorrow. And Paul Hoynes on Thursday. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature's Stone and never replace your basement flooring again. Your concrete is uneven, damp, and not healthy. Carpet and tile don't last, breed mold and mildew, and give worthless warranties. Nature's Stone permanently corrects uneven concrete and is not affected by dampness or moisture. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of February. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine history, February 11th, 1968. Les and his frat brother Marty were fixed up with dates. They met in a dorm lobby, and his date came down and said, "Are you Marty?" And he said, "How soon do you need to know?" And then he just tore out of the building.
A little nervous, were you?
Not me. He was. That's loosely based on truth, by the way. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We have a Facebook question of the day. You know what we asked?
I don't know, but that one guy, Lawrence, did he?
I don't know.
respond?
I haven't pre-read these, as you know.
Right.
After seeing Rob Manfred's proposal to modify the postseason, what would you do to fix baseball?
Huh.
What would you do? Well, I'll ask you this after we run through it. Got Andy Mees. He said, I'd wait until April to start the regular season, then go back to traditional doubleheaders on Sunday instead of starting the season in late March, and get a 162-game schedule and playoffs before Halloween. Glenn Berger, I'd much rather see a salary cap instituted in MLB than Manfred's proposal. A salary cap proposal will no doubt result in a strike, so be it. Pal Joey Frederick says, go back to the future of getting rid of instant replay. Bring back managers going nuts on umpires instead of everybody standing around waiting for the 4 umps to call New York. Also, instant replay is what enabled the Houston Astros trash can gate scandal. Tim Gephardt, leave the grand game alone. A better change would be a DH or not in both leagues. Danny Harrison says, make owners who make no effort to win a championship and put money over competing to sell their teams. Michael Burke says, reconsider all the proposals, then look for a new commissioner. Hashtag Trevor Bauer.
Now that would be entertaining.
All right, what would you do to save to help baseball?
I like it the way it is.
I do too.
I mean, I got to say, I mean, to me, I think in the NBA you get 16 teams.
Yes, 8 in each
and the
conference.
NHL is the same.
Yep.
Or that just seems you're just embracing mediocrity when you do that. And I prefer the way it is right now.
I heard some talk that
I like the doubleheader idea.
Yeah, I do too. I heard some talk saying that for the teams that get off to a bad start in April and May, they just can't recover. I've been a proponent of this for a long time. Do it the old way we used to play softball, and that's have two separate seasons. 81 games in the first half, 81 in the second. And if your team is not very good in the beginning of the season, on July 1st they get to start all over again.
That has some merit.
That's it?
Yeah. No, I mean, part of me is you feel like you grew up watching it a certain way, and that's a huge sea change,
right,
to do that. But it would certainly make for, it would give that in July or whatever, it would give you that clean slate to go chase a playoff spot.
Let's say you're 10 games out. When the second half comes, you could redo opening day, have the parade, have the balloons, have flyovers.
Yeah. I think they do that at the All-Star game, don't they?
Yeah. So I don't know what needs to be done. I fell in love with the game the way it is. It's changed over the years. It's not the same game that you and I played and fell in love with, but it doesn't need that much tinkering.
No, I mean, I would like to see the DH in both leagues, but that's me. I know some people would like to see the DH go away, and
yeah,
I just think it should be uniform. And this idea of teams being at a disadvantage when they go into interleague play is not, just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Trevor Bauer said in the video that we had earlier that he grew up going to one game a year with his father, and so on. You got to make the game affordable so that families can go. That's number one. Number two, your big game, the World Series or NLCS, ALCS, you can't have them start at 8:45 at night.
Yeah,
I know you have a problem with 3 time zones or four time zones that you have to appease, but somebody's not going to get the benefit of it. But the way they do it now, everybody gets lost in it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the ideas about the salary cap, as we touched on earlier, yeah, sure, it really would level the playing field. It would give markets like Pittsburgh and Cleveland to a lesser extent, because the Indians have been good regardless.
Cincinnati.
But it would give those markets, a chance. Miami, whoever it is, Tampa. But I just don't see where the players have never sat still for that.
No.
And if you want to see the sport go away for a year again, that's going to happen. But I don't want to see that.
But how did all of a sudden Cincinnati and Minnesota, similar markets, how did they find all the money that they're signed off on now?
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I know new ballparks tend to spike revenue for some of these.
We're down the road a little bit on that.
Yeah, I really don't know that. I know, like in the case of San Diego, which is not a big population. I mean, it's a bigger population area than Cleveland, but it's not L.A. or New York or Chicago. Their local TV money is still a whole lot more than what the Indians collect.
All right, 216-575-0403 if you want to get in for the last segment of the show, which is coming back with some How Come Quickies that Bud is going to grade. I found that Bud is the most fair grader that we have here.
Who else grades? I didn't know.
Everybody.
Everybody grades? I thought that was my shtick.
No, like Hoynesy, he takes a pen and he writes them down. He doesn't show it. He just, I don't know.
Yeah, come on. I don't come on here and rant about stuff and throw my hands in the air.
That's his gig?
That's his thing.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. Bud Shaw with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues. We do the show live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but you can call and leave a message any of the other 23 hours of the day or night. Do that by calling the number you see right there, 216-200-6650, the voicemail of Truth and Reason. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature's Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of February. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, the D-Man, WTAM Radio. Dennis Maniloff joins us. Hoynesy will be here on Thursday. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. I got to tell you something. You do great grading on these quickies, but just as an overview of it, we've had some guys who've started out slow and have really come on like Secretariat. One of them is Toledo Mike and Big Ed. So let's see how you grade these.
All right.
Big Ed says, how come claustrophobic people are more productive thinking out of the box? All right, first of all, just kind of give a guideline of what you're looking for and not looking for.
I don't like ones that I can see coming. I like when they take a little turn at the end and I say, oh, I didn't see that. That was pretty clever.
And you don't like puns?
And I don't like puns. So
8.0 is pretty good.
That's pretty good. And plus, again,
standards.
I grade like gymnastics judges. I have to leave some room for a
'cause
fantastic performance.
Right down here at the end of this might be one of the most fantastic ones.
Yep.
We had an all-timer the other night, just to remind people that we can do it. How come if the famed skater Peekaboo Street donated money to a hospital, that unit would be called the Peekaboo ICU? Now, that covers everything in your...
It does. There's only one catch to it.
What's that?
Is that I've heard it before.
Oh, well.
Are you
Alex,
suggesting that applies to almost all of these?
Yeah, yes. Alex from Euclid. Well, it's like, hey, Les, you use that this day in Les history. Yeah, well, there's 365 days, then you do it again. Alex from Euclid. How come the tribe has the perfect cheating scheme in place already? Instead of banging on garbage cans, have John Adams send signals. Now, people around the country who are watching tonight don't have any idea who John Adams is, but that's the drummer boy.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a...
Would they be smoke signals? And wouldn't he have to sit in center field?
Yeah, they can't put him... I think if you put John Adams in the dugout, that might be a problem for a lot of people. 5'6".
Yeah, it's hard for him to see. You know, you have to think that one through. How's he going to see the catcher's signals?
And 99% of the people outside of Cleveland don't know who John Adams is, who's a great guy, by the way. East Side Eddie. How come I told my doctor I was going to sew up my own wound, and he said, okay, suit yourself. Suit yourself.
You know what? I'm going to give that...
Suit yourself.
I was going to give it an 8.6.
Yeah.
But I heard them laughing in the control room, so I'm going to give it an 8.9. That
you just turned the 6 upside down?
That got, I'm telling you, that got a roar from...
Did it really?
Where the crack research team is, yep.
Huh. Toledo Mike. How come when I ask my lawyer if I can ask 2 questions, he says, all right, what's the second one?
All right, now see, I didn't see that coming.
Okay, so what is it?
I can give him a 9.
9.0. You're good tonight.
I give him a 9.
Mr. Gullible did not check in tonight. He thinks, Mr. Gullible, if you're watching, Try to send them before we start the show. We have our crew doing a lot of other stuff besides waiting for Mr. Gullible. I hate to tick off Mr. Gullible. But, you know, he needs to be kept in line sometimes.
Yeah.
John Patrick. Hi, Les and Bud. How come I enjoy long walks, especially by people who annoy me? Need another sheet? 8.1, 9.1.
I like that one.
That's
See,
a
I
good
didn't
one.
see that coming.
Yeah. Well, I think it's incumbent upon the people who send in quickies to know what days you're here, which is generally Tuesday.
Yeah.
The D-man sometimes overthinks.
Is that it for the selection?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was,
It's a good
overall,
selection.
I thought it was a pretty good batch.
Oh, let's add this to the repertoire. Give it an overall grade.
Huh.
I'd say this is pretty good today.
5.6. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 today.
8.5 is a conglomerate.
As a group, and that's, you know, there was a 5.6 in there that brought the scoring
So
down.
you grade on a curve, basically.
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
But I thought overall, hey, I've listened to you on radio when you do them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was a pretty good batch compared to some of them.
Compared to the junk I get?
I'm kidding. When are you on again, and when are they doing that?
I'm on Friday, this Friday, from 10 until 2. I'm on the following Monday from noon until 3. That's not true, from 11 until 3. And then the following Friday, the 21st, I will be there from 10 until 2, with Jeff Phelps on 2 of the days, by myself on the other.
Wow. So when you're by yourself, you'll have free reign.
That's
You
pretty
can
much
do-
how that works. Yeah.
There's nobody there to say.
I try
"Really?"
to get along with everybody I work with. If they don't like quickies, I'm not going to press them. I've had enough quickies in my life, so to speak.
Well, hey, one thing, we have a few minutes left.
Yeah.
I have found very little in the Cavaliers season that has intrigued me, and yet I fell for it. The day that Drummond was making his debut,
You fell
I
for it.
watched the game thinking, hey, I'm not expecting him to turn things around, but we may see a new energy. We may see a team that says, okay, now we have a scoring threat,
17,
shot blocking threat.
17 and 14.
He had a good enough debut, right? A very good debut. But it was also their worst home loss
Ever.
Which,
What do you think? They were overcompensating? They wanted to let him get together
I
with
don't
everybody?
know. I don't know why that would have affected the fact that they played no defense at all. And that was a real concern. I mean, he's not the greatest shot block. He's not the greatest rim protector, according to the next gen stats, right? But he can block shots, and he's certainly a presence in there.
By the way,
those guards played no defense.
Yeah. And Sexton got named to the All Futures team or whatever it's called. There was an injury, so he'll play.
Yeah, I like the trade less because this team is not developing right now, and I think this over the last 30 games, this gives them a chance maybe to develop. The fact that he might opt in at $28 million or whatever gives them a year. Nobody else is going to pay him.
Yeah.
But I don't like it if they sign him to like a long-term deal, because that's just not the style of play that the NBA is rewarding.
Do you think John
right now.
Beilein is? I thought about a month ago I'd say he's not liking what he's seeing here. Do you think he A, got rejuvenated, or B, wants out?
I think he got a little rejuvenated till he saw Drummond take three-point shots.
He made 2. It's a bad thing.
And heard Drummond say, well, I just didn't try him at other places because they didn't want me to. Well, guess what? They don't want you to here either. Stop it.
You know when they say, no, nice shot, they didn't say it with him, even though he made 2 of the 3.
Yeah, it's hard to read. I mean, I'm not around there, so it's hard to read Beilein. I can just imagine that this is not going anywhere close to as smoothly as he thought. And he now has a whole college basketball season left in the NBA season. He's got another 29 games left.
It's opening night coming up.
He's taken quite a few punches so
All right,
far.
that'll do it for us. Great job by Bud Shaw, as always. We'll see you tomorrow night with the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.